Thank you very much for having me in this very important program. The first weapon you can use to achieve development is the political will. We have a president who has the political will to address the wrong of the past and to do what is right so as to ensure that education is given the most priority. And if you look at the 8-point agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime, you find that education is so much prioritized to the extent that it's one of the key aspects of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. When you look at it, there are so many thematic areas that is addressed by the 8-point agenda, which take on one after the other. I've also mentioned the issue of budgetary allocation. Despite the fact that Nigeria has a lot of resource constraint and with a lot of competing needs, Mr. President prioritized education and making it next security in terms of budgetary allocation, which is also backed by strong political will to fully fund the budget as passed by the National Assembly. The budgetary allocation this year will go a long way in resuscitating our institution. And by and large, at level of basic education, you find that almost what is going to Universal Basic Education Commission has almost doubled to tripled, which means that there is more money now to take care of basic education. And when you look at even the tertiary funding, you realize that also has improved because State Fund has for the first time, had the highest revenue accruing to TED Fund that can be used to service our tertiary educational institution. And then in terms of infrastructure, if you go, you find that both state and federal institutions, when you remove TED Fund funding, really it's going to be almost there's nothing. So realizing that TED Fund has been performing excellently well, Mr. President, and his magnanimity also increases this. Now, Mr. President has taken care of infrastructure. It's taking care of infrastructure. It's actually taking care of so many things. And the access now is also to go to the student in tertiary level. And realizing that really is going to be very, very difficult because of economic constraint, Mr. President also make it better by establishing the National Education Loan Fund, which is the view to increase the accessibility of average student to tertiary institution, irrespective of his own personal financial ground, and also that of his parent. And to cut it right, Mr. President says the only key you can use to eradicate poverty in any family is education. Education is one of the major areas that is causing a lot of pressure on Naira, because you have to source for dollars in paying their school fee, institution fee, many other things and this. Once the school are established locally here, that is also the demand on Naira for dollar in exchange of Naira will significantly reduce, and also more money will be retained in the country. And I assure you, our neighboring countries here can also come to Nigeria to join those institutions, which will now increase and boost our foreign exchange. So the transnational education is a very wide concept, and that has accepted a lot of this. Now, it will also help us to reduce the issue of certificate miling that we have been battling with. As you know, one of our investigative journalists had a course to obtain a degree in 6 weeks, which we have also, on our own as a responsible institution, constituted a committee to verify that. And really to tell you that the findings there were so shocking that it's unbelievable that happened. As ministry, we have taken position to address those issues internally for those who are engaged, and also we are forwarding our recommendation. Some recommendation cannot be handled by the Federal Ministry of Education. Next has to come in, Federal Executive Council have to consider them, and very soon we'll make presentation to Federal Executive Council so that the right decision will be taken. In the last 1 year or so of the existence of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime, he has succeeded in ensuring that our education is secured, and its also focus is changed. But there is increasing focus to introduce skill and skills acquisitions in our institution, which we are also working sincerely. The aim of the President is that Nigeria should have a graduate that are competent enough in terms of knowledge, in terms of morality, and in terms of skills, so that they can be able to compete locally and internationally towards making Nigeria and the world better. The loan is just not a theoretical, you understand? And to be frank, when the act was passed initially, there were a lot of concern. And Mr. President has to submit a second amendment to the first amendment to the National Assembly. So in that amendment, a lot of inclusion were added and also exclusion were done just to make it better and fairly acceptable to all Nigerians. The major inclusion in that is also the addition of skills. So that for just you want to acquire skills, it's a reason for you to access the loan. You see, the access has been much easier, and also it has eradicated many means, because the application and everything will be done virtual. It's an online application and it will be processed and you get credited. Now, depending on the aims you apply, either you want to go and get a skills, either you want to pay your tuition fee if you are in a state university, either you want to pay your registration fee, all the you have to do, hostel and other accommodation, or you want for your own sustainability in school. All others have been paid. So depending on you get, you know what you have taken and you stand to it. And then you have to know that even when you access it, that you are going to pay. And then the law made it clear that if you are employing anybody, you must ensure that there is evidence of whether he has or he has not accessed student loan fund. Once he has access, now the law, the act make it mandatory for you to report to the student loan fund, I have employed so and so, and they are indebted of the access the loan while a student, and remit it to the student loan fund body. So there are a lot of measures that have been put. You cannot access the loan until you have satisfied the criteria: getting admission to any institution, confirmation from an institution that you are their student, and many other more. Instant scribe is one of the major concerns in educational institution, because it has a lot of negative effect, even to the students themselves and even to the lecturers. You see, somebody that is used to waking up by 8 o'clock and going to interact with students, and has been doing that for more than 30 years. Now, for certain reasons, he is in his house, not going anywhere. You know, it can even impact negatively even to his house. If you look at the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, continuous academic calendar is one of the major thematic area in the 8-point agenda of Mr. President on social welfare and priority focused education. So that academic stability needs to be established, because that is only when you can say now, okay, if we have this stable calendar, we can go. You understand? There are many ways that we can achieve economic satisfaction, but the major is building trust between government and unions under Federal Ministry of Education. To have the trust that, look, we can do that and that. And how do you achieve trust? It has to be through constant engagement and interaction, so that the government will understand the needs of the workers, both academic and non-academic staff, and also those group of academic and non-academic staff will also understand the constraint faced by government. And once that understanding is built, we have established a trust, then we can meet a common ground. And when we are at that common ground, we all see now there is the need for us to work closely with a very good understanding and trust, so that we can avoid instances strike, we can reduce it or completely eradicate it. The emergency issue is so important that government is taking it serious. And then because of its importance, there is also need for government at various levels, and then organized private sector to, as much as possible, close rank and work together. What is the importance of that? If there is no close ranking and working together, the consequences may lead to a lot of retrenchment from different angles. Any private organization that finds that it cannot pay what should be paid will shed some weight. That is also a negative impact. We know the impact of unemployment, what it can result to. And that's why when the issue was even tabled before the NEC, Mr. President directed it should be stepped down so that he can make a concrete consultations with major stakeholders, this Nigerian Governors Forum, organized private sector, so that we can agree on what is applicable to us. Because we must know that in federal government we have different tertiaries tier of government. And then you cannot as federal say, I will want to have universal applicability of all. One good thing is Mr. President has the political will to implement what will make Nigerians better, what will guide and protect their dignity. Your source of income must be able to protect your dignity. But while providing you with what protects your dignity, should not also be a reason of others losing their job. In the end, we'll have all that we'll be happy with and what can also be implemented easily without negative repercussion on labor itself.